Hi, hello. Welcome to another episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is March the 16th, 2024. Hopefully, this episode finds you well, in good spirits, and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. We'll say I'm a bit sleepy, but that's on par for the weekend and me in general. But let's see. I did get some laundry done today, so we can start with that. Nothing really to report. It was laundry. Let's see. I did get some donuts from Jupiter Donuts, and I also got a coffee from there as well. I got a almond joy latte, which was pretty good. That was the first time like getting I guess like a signature coffee from them, and it was pretty nice. And I got a sprinkled chocolate donut, and then or sprinkled chocolate iced donut, and then I got a vanilla and chocolate iced donut and a sticky bun. So that was yummy. That was breakfast. Going backwards in time, I had Domino's pizza last night. It was a pizza day, and it was really yummy. Let's see, what toppings did we get? One pizza, the experimental one. I got like three cheeses, and then Alfredo sauce is the base. And then the other pizza was sausage and bacon with a barbecue base. So, yeah, we've been eating good in the neighborhood. Let's see here. Is there anything else I really wanted to report? No, I feel like I'm in a better mood today. No tears for a baby today. I feel like I'm in a better spirits, if you will, as we get closer to St. Patrick's Day. Let's see here. Is there anything else I wanted to report about myself? Nah, I'm good. I'm good. Let me go ahead. Actually, no, I'm gonna save my startup till actually the second beat. Yeah, we'll do it that way. All right, let's go ahead and start off with CBS News. United flight from San Francisco lands in Oregon with fuselage panel missing. And take a quick guess on what's the plane provider here. What's the plane carrier, the maker, I should say. That's what I'm looking for. I'll get to it in a second. The fuselage panel of the United States, the fuselage panel of a United Airlines flight, a Boeing 737-800, there it is, was discovered missing Friday afternoon after the plane landed at an airport in Medford, Oregon, after having departed San Francisco, officials said. United 433 from San Francisco International Airport to Rogue Valley International Medford Airport landed safely as scheduled in Medford, the Federal Aviation Administration reported. So good, there was no injuries or anything like that. It's good that you get to report that, not there was a nosedive or some technical issue, and a lot of people getting fucked up. No one got sucked up out of the plane. That's good. So hooray that. But let's see here. It was only during a post-landing airline inspection that the missing panel was discovered, the FAA said. CBS News learned that the missing panel is from the underside of the aircraft, just adjacent to where the main landing gear deploys. After the aircraft was parked at the gate, it was discovered to be missing an external panel. United said in a statement, adding that it would conduct a thorough examination of the plane and perform all the needed repairs. The plane was carrying 139 passengers and 6 crew members. Airline monitoring website FlightAware indicated that the flight departed San Francisco at 10:20 a.m. and landed ahead of schedule in Medford at 11:36 a.m. So, yeah, I'm not sure if that means that they were kind of like aware that there was an issue and like, okay, we definitely got to land this thing. But yeah, I mean that's not a good look, and a slew of bad looks for Boeing, and there's more stories that I've missed, which is kind of surprising because I feel like I've covered a decent amount of them. But I did kind of want to run through them since they have them here. Let's see. We covered the one that took place on January 5th with the Alaska Airlines, the door plug. Let me see here. This marks the latest. No, that's not the one I wanted to read. United Flight 1816 from Dallas to San Francisco landed without major problems after it encountered a hydraulic leak as it neared its destination Thursday morning. Let's see here. On Monday, another United flight bound from San Francisco to Australia had maintenance issues and was forced to return to Sydney. There's another one. On March 4th, United flight 1118 bound for Fort Myers, Florida, had to return to Houston George International Airport after the engine burst into flames shortly after takeoff. An airline investigation later determined that the fire was caused by bubble wrap that was sucked into the engine. Now, that's less on the plane. That's more of like external factors. So, you don't have to blame Boeing or anybody on that one. I mean, maybe the people who, were loading up things because I guess bubble wrap kind of makes sense with the luggage, shipping stuff, whatever. Let's see here. Then there was another one following day, March 8th. Problems with a jet hydraulic system forced a plane bound for Mexico City to make an emergency landing in Los Angeles. Then also on March 8th, United Flight 2477 from Memphis to George Bush International Airport in Houston veered off the runway after landing. 160 passengers and 6 crew members on the flight were forced to depart the plane using air stairs on the open runway. There were no injuries in any of these recent incidents. So yeah, I mean, sure, these aren't related. Some of these planes obviously are older planes, most of these, So, can you really trace everything back to Boeing and say, oh, this is all your fault, blah, 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 blah. No, but definitely on some of these, it's like, this feels a little fishy. It feels a little, like, concerning. Which leads me to the next update and why I wanted to hold out. But I wouldn't say it's an update, but I wanted to actually kind of give a little bit more fleshed out coverage to it because I kind of just said it in passing in an episode. But, just wanted to give condolences to John Barnett. There's an actual article about him, tons of, I won't say tons, but there's definitely a lot of coverage on this man. And I feel like it's rightful to do so. He definitely, was sounding an alarm that seems to definitely be coming to pass in some ways. Maybe not the specific thing in terms of like just with the oxygen mask and things like that, but there was other things that he's definitely seen and called out that it's definitely seeming like, man, it almost seems like Boeing maybe hasn't changed or hasn't changed enough. But yeah, from the BBC, Boeing whistleblower John Barnett found dead in U.S. So to that, we are going to take our smoke break and, start up whatever. Yeah, we'll give our flowers to this man. Ooh. Okay. A former Boeing employee known for raising concerns about the firm's production standards has been found dead in the U.S. John Barnett worked for Boeing for more than 30 years before retiring in 2017. In the days before his death, he had been giving evidence in a whistleblower lawsuit against the company. Boeing said it was saddened to hear of Mr. Barnett's passing. The Charleston County coroner confirmed his death to the BBC on Monday. It said the 62-year-old had died from a self-inflicted wound on March 9th, and police were investigating. Now, I mean, I have no doubt that most likely that's how it's going to shake out, but it just feels very suspicious. And we definitely have in one of these kind of situations where, of course it's going to fuel conspiracies or whatever, but like this is a person who's like, look, if anything happens to me, no, I didn't do it, okay? Like, I didn't go out like that. That's not the way I want to go. I would go out fighting. So to see someone, go out this way, how it's portrayed, whatever, it's sad. It's very unfortunate. Let me see here. What did I really want to pull you from? Yeah, in 2019, Mr. Barnett told the BBC that under pressure workers have been deliberately fitting substandard parts to aircraft on the production line. He also said that he uncovered serious problems with oxygen systems, which can mean 1 in 4 breathing masks would not work in an emergency. He said soon after starting work in South Carolina, he had become concerned that the push to get new aircraft built meant that the assembly process was rushed and safety was compromised, something the company denied. He later told the BBC that workers failed to follow procedures intended to track components through the factory, allowing the defective components to go missing. Excuse me. And he said in some cases, substandard parts had even been removed from scrap bins and fitted to planes that were built to prevent delays on the production line. He claimed that tests on emergency oxygen systems due to be fitted to the 787 showed a failure rate of 25%, meaning 1 in 4 could fail to deploy in a real-life emergency. Mr. Barnett said he had alerted managers to his concerns, but no actions had been taken. I wanted to add, too, that I was listening to the Ben and Emil show. It's pretty cool little podcast, two dudes. They were able to get this like really interesting interview with another, I believe he was a manager, worker, whatever, from Boeing. And now he has like a foundation that's like really like trying to hold them accountable to just do better practices. And, you know, very thorough, very like interesting. I want to say like over an hour, but just really kind of echoing a lot of what Barnett was saying, talking about a lot of like victims and stuff, like kind of what they've been having to go through, like the victims of the family, like of the survivors of like the 737 or 737, 787, the MAX, whichever one of those Boeing planes that went down. There's 2 of those that went down. So I really encourage people to listen to that. And they're just interesting, and, you know, overall it was a good episode. But yeah, I mean, it's a shame that it does seem that Boeing hasn't learned anything. It hasn't changed any of its practices. It seems like the almighty dollar, what the shareholders want, is more important than safety, than quality. And I think that initially, the original owners, creators of Boeing, they didn't have that logic. They didn't have that mantra. But the new company, like, you know, the new owners, they're like, nah, man, it's the almighty dollar. That's the bottom line. And I mean, it's a shame because I mean, you're putting people's lives at stake. So yeah, I mean, obviously super unfortunate, very scary if you're a traveler, I'm sure. But I mean, yeah, I at this point, I don't even know. I don't even want to like roll out the whole spiel of like, oh, it's still safe to be in a plane. Like, I don't know. I guess if you're on the right one, shrug. Anyway, that's all I have for the plane talk, for the airline shit. Let's actually take it to the seas. Actually, take it to the seas, to Gaza. From Politico. First Gaza aid ship unloads food, water, and supplies at besieged enclave. A first vessel delivering aid to the battered Gaza ship. I'm going to run this sentence back. First vessel delivering aid to the battered Gaza Strip has fully unloaded, depositing 200 tons of food, water, and supplies to the starving enclave and inaugurating a humanitarian sea corridor from Cyprus. Videos posted online show a crane transferring crates from a barge onto trucks on a custom-built jetty. A second vessel was already being loaded in the Cypriot port of Larnaca. The World Central Kitchen, or WCK, a U.S. charity, said Saturday morning. So, I mean, this is good news. It definitely is. But I will definitely say that even though 200 tons of aid sounds like a big number, it is yet again a drop in the bucket for what is needed. Also, it pales in comparison to what you could do if you actually had a means of getting trucks and aid into Gaza effectively. Now, Israel's going to say, like, oh, well, you could do that, but, like, the UN is playing around. Where if you ask UN and any other people who are trying to bring in aid, they're saying, hey, we can't even make it through an inspection. We try to do an inspection, or we try to get this aid in. It gets delayed. Sometimes they go through it. They say, hey, we're just we're not letting you in, just turn around. And they're like, well, what's the reason? What's the contraband? And they're like, we're not going to tell you, just turn around. So, like, you have a problem with that just alone as it is. Not to mention this is an open firefight that people, are literally dying. We've covered stories like last month over, 100 people getting killed because, aid came, Israel soldier, IDF just starts shooting, people start dying. So, it's a frustrating situation that we're doing this shit ass backwards. And like, yeah, silver lining, awesome. It's working, but children are still dying, women are still dying, everyone is still dying in this situation. And we're now not just talking from acts of violence, we're talking of like famine, we're talking like malnutrition. That's just becoming more and more prevalent in the situation. But hey, I mean, we'll see how this goes. Like I said, this ass backwards aid plan that I guess we just have to do, even though once again we can't make a ceasefire happen. Apparently, it's not gonna work. Anyway, we have one more thing I wanted to cover before I let you go, and it's from the Associated Press. Tornadoes kill 3 and leave trails of destruction in the central U.S. Before we dive in, I'm going to go ahead and take my last break. All right. Ooh. Thursday's night storms left trails of destruction across parts of Ohio, Kentucky, Indiana, and Arkansas. About 40 people were injured and dozens of homes were damaged in one Indiana community. Tornadoes were also reported in Illinois and Missouri. So I recalled the storm. I was like playing my little game. It was raining cats and dogs, and it was one of those things where it got so bad that I was like, I better stop playing before my connection goes out. And sure enough, like my Wi-Fi went out for like a second, and then we were good to go. Storm kind of died down, moved along. I was like, okay, cool. You could definitely see that it had moved through, but yeah, I was just definitely kind of hearing a bit of the aftermath, and like, oh wow, it wasn't just Ohio. Hit multiple states, did a lot of damage. Very unfortunate to hear that people died. Lots of people were injured, throughout, each state. A lot of property damage, obviously. So, my condolences go out to, everyone who had to go through that. I know it's a little bit of local news. Unfortunately, it's not great or good news, but glad that overall, a lot of people came out of it okay. At least you can say that. It's always good that you can keep your life, and like, sure, you might have to rebuild that home or do this or that, but at least you have yourself, and hopefully you have your family. That's that important shit. That's that irreplaceable shit. So there you go. We'll go ahead and call that an episode for today. Something I feel like that's a little bit lighter, not as heavy as some of the other ones this week. But yeah, if you'd like to help out, support the effort, I do have a Patreon, patreon.com/Isaiah News. If you'd like to support the effort, you became a newsie today. I shout you out at the top of the month and plug a project if you'd like. Free ways to hit me up, isaiahnews1@gmail.com. Feel free to follow me or the podcast there. Then hopefully you're subscribed to the YouTube. Really helps out a lot. Any new subscribers we get. Hit the like button. Leave a cool comment. Sharing is caring. Really helps out the whole algorithm stuff. And I mean, if you can do that on Spotify, that means a lot. Helps out a ton. Cool 5-star reviews. All that good stuff. So yeah, thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for being a friend. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.